What's up, DC Nation? It's your boy DC Fan 1903, and I'm on here to give you guys the 2017 Stanley Cup Playoffs NHL bracket. And as you guys know, the Capitals have made the playoffs. Also, the Wizards have made it. But in another video later on tonight, as soon as this video goes, I'm going to record the NBA playoff bracket. So, the Capitals have repeated as the best team in the NHL going into the playoffs. However, the Capitals are still trying to get their first title in the NHL. This is their 42nd year being in the league. Last year, they made it to the semifinals and got eliminated by the Pittsburgh Penguins 4-2. And the Capitals eliminated the Philadelphia Flyers in the quarterfinals. So here's the all the quarterfinals matchups. First, we'll go ahead and start off with the Western Conference. We got the Blackhawks going up against the Predators. And let me go ahead and start off saying that both these teams going to the playoffs didn't surprise me. The Blackhawks choked real hard last year in the playoffs, getting eliminated in the quarterfinals. I don't remember who eliminated them. I want to say it was like the Sharks or something. But I think unless the Blackhawks choke again real hard, I think the Blackhawks are going to eliminate them. Next up, we got the Wild versus the Blues. I think the Blues will take this win very easily. The Blues are a really good hockey team. Last year, they got up to the Western Conference Finals. They eliminated the Dallas Stars in the semifinals, the best team in the Western Conference until the playoffs hit. And they got eliminated by the defending Western Conference champions, the San Jose Sharks. So I say the Blues are going to eliminate the Wild, which means I have the Blackhawks and the Blues going up against each other in the semifinals. Alright, next up we got the Ducks going up against the Flames. And I'm actually surprised that the Flames made the playoffs because they've been a bad team for years. But I see the Ducks easily winning this series and moving on to the semifinals. And last but not least in the Western Conference Finals, we got the Oilers going up against the defending Western Conference champs, the Sharks. And once again, the Oilers is another team I haven't seen in the playoffs oftenly. I know they missed it last year, so I got the Sharks winning this one. So in the Western Conference, I got the Blackhawks going up against the Blues, and I got the Ducks going up against the Sharks. Now for the Eastern Conference. First, we'll go ahead and start off with the Capitals. They'll be going up against the Maple Leafs. And the Maple Leafs, they haven't been doing good in a long time. And so this ought to be an easy win. The Capitals should move on to the semifinals. My dad thinks that, you know, the series is going to go all the way into Game 7, but he thinks the Capitals are going to win because he thinks the Maple Leafs are underrated. The Maple Leafs, you know, I'm surprised they made it to the playoffs this year. I really am. But that's who the Capitals are going up in the quarterfinals. I really think the Capitals are going to win this series pretty easily. Or hopefully they do. It'd be embarrassed to, you know, get eliminated in the quarterfinals, you know, when you go into the playoffs as the #1 seed. Of course, the first time they won, the Capitals won the President's Trophy for the first time. They got eliminated in the quarterfinals, but I don't want to talk about that. I'm just looking forward, being positive, and saying we're going to move on to the semifinals. All right, next up we got the defending NHL champs, the Penguins, who stole the title away from the Capitals, and they're going up against the Blue Jackets. And the Blue Jackets are another one of those teams who hasn't been doing well in years, and they made it to the playoffs, and they were actually the second best team in the division, and at the last second the Penguins took second place away from them, and the Blue Jackets finish out third in the division. So I say that ought to be a good series. I don't think the Penguins are going to win that series. I think the series could go into Game 7, but I think the Blue Jackets are going to win that series. So I think it'll be the Capitals versus the Blue Jackets in the semifinals. All right, and now for the other two games in the Eastern Conference. We got the Canadiens going up against the Rangers. That ought to be a good series. However, the Rangers have been falling apart lately. They finished out 4th place in the division, and they're not as good as they were earlier this season. So I say the Canadiens will probably win this series pretty easily. The Canadiens, it didn't surprise me to see them in the playoffs, because I figured last year was a fluke, because all 7 Canada NHL teams missing the playoffs. I figured, wow, you know, that's something that's rarely seen, especially for the Canadiens, because the Canadiens are like the best Canada NHL team of the 7. So I have the Canadiens moving on to the semifinals. And last but not least, we got the Senators going up against the Bruins. The Senators also surprised me, because I don't think they've been in the playoffs recently. Maybe they have. Or maybe they were in the Western Conference Finals, but they're in the Eastern Conference right now. I guess because they moved the Predators to the West. I don't know why, the reason behind that. And then the Bruins, who have missed the playoffs for the past 2 years, but they're a strong playoff team. I've seen what they can do. I got the Bruins winning that series. So I think the Bruins will move on to the semifinals with the Canadiens. So my semifinals predictions is Blackhawks eliminate Predators, the Blues eliminate the Wild. So it'll be the Blackhawks versus the Blues. The Ducks eliminate the Flames. The Sharks eliminate the Oilers. So it'll be the Ducks versus the Sharks in the semifinals. I have the Canadiens eliminating the Rangers. And I got the Bruins eliminating the Senators. So it'll be the Canadiens versus the Bruins. And I got the Capitals eliminating the Maple Leafs. And I got the Blue Jackets eliminating the Penguins. So, Capitals versus Blue Jackets in the semifinals. That's my prediction going into the semifinals. So, DC Nation, let's rock the red. Get this series win against the Maple Leafs, and let's move on to the semifinals.